I just run into a lot of situations where things fall apart, and I got to account for it.
That's fair. That's fair. Yeah, nothing falls apart in my game. Hey there, goblins. Welcome to Goblin Salvage Rights. My name is Robert.
I forgot my name. It's been so long since I said it in front of the camera.
I know. It's been so long. This is
I'm
Eric.
Eric.
With a K.
With a K.
Not with a C.
Yep.
Today we're talking about how we prep games. Why such a simple and elegant topic? Well, it's been a while, and we're back in the saddle, baby.
We need to get our booties wet again.
So I said, you know what? We're going simple and clean, just like our favorite song from the early 2000s.
Simple and clean from the early 2000s?
Yeah, it was the theme song to the Kingdom Hearts video game.
Oh, God. I keep seeing, I think it's like 2 and 3 that are in a bundle on my Switch.
Oh, yeah, probably.
And I haven't pulled the trigger yet.
Dude.
Yeah.
If you're not nostalgic for it, don't do it.
Oh, is it that bad?
It's not bad. It's just like...
It's like Disney and Final Fantasy. Isn't that like, you know?
It's...
You tell us. I want to see fights down there in the thingy. Did the didgeridoo? Is that what that's called?
Yeah, the doobly-doo.
According to the one guy in the threads.
So yeah, we're talking about how we prep games.
Yep.
This could. I'm hoping that this topic doesn't take too long. We'll see in the end. But I've now that I've been playing Kingmaker and running Kingmaker for a little over a year now.
I think so. Yeah.
I have a process that I know doesn't fail. I don't know if it works,
but it
doesn't fail.
Well, that's good. A good bar to clear for you specifically, because I know you hate doing this. Like your least favorite part of the whole hobby seems to be prepping for the GM stuff.
It really is. Like I have an anxiety getting up to the game, or
So
I think everyone does. Yeah. But like the second I sit down, I start having a good time. But the prep just feels like homework.
Yep.
And I've got a lot of trauma about homework. So I've come up with a way that makes it feel the least like homework.
Cool.
And lets me blitz through it so that I don't have to do homework for very long.
Yeah, I feel that prep always feels like homework. The thing is, depending on which of the 3 kinds of prep I do, it once I get in there and start going through the motions, I start forgetting that. Why are you shaking?
I'm just smiling because Eric is such a master. He has 3 different ways.
Yeah, well, you know, like when shit hits the fan, there's a way I got to prep.
Okay.
When I have complete and total control over what's going on, there's a different process.
Okay.
I just need like different prepping processes. This as a player as well, not just as a GM, where you know, the fewest balls can drop. So I can't be like super meticulous when I'm in panic mode. It just doesn't work.
So before we jump into the topic, we gotta thank. I know we're already doing. We gotta thank our patron, our newest patron, Obean. Been on the Discord for a while. Fucking thank you. I actually sold Obean a bottle of rum from the rum company I work for randomly. He just like reached out to me on Discord a long time ago.
Yeah, I ran a live game for Obean at our convention
at CritCon. Yeah. And then now
you're
Obean,
a smashing goblin. The most interesting goblin in the room right now.
And also colorblind. Shout out to the colorblind fam out there. So yeah, I don't know why I just brought that up, but I play with Obean now. We're doing a Sunday night game, and Obean's one of the players in our Sunday night game.
Is this virtual?
Virtual, yeah. I'm playing on Foundry on a VTT.
Ooh, that's like official.
And I'm actually really enjoying it. We're doing the undead game, the Bloodlords. I'm playing a skeleton samurai from a far land who has traveled to Geb because he just awoke one day, realized everyone hated him, and then heard about this wonderful place where undead can live unscathed. So he traveled to that place and pledged his loyalty to a minor vampiric lord who's another one of the players in our game. So I'm basically like the protector, you know, and God damn it, I protected him because fuck do I die a lot almost. And then he like nat ones. I've had him nat one his medicine check on me probably like 4 times now. I've come one dying save away from dying.
Yep.
I'm playing the Exemplar. My favorite part is that he's a skeleton Exemplar and he only speaks in haiku.
Tell me you write these haikus.
I have a whole Notion page of haikus.
For
I probably have
every
I have 40 haikus.
That's legit.
And it's great because it allows my ADHD. Like I'll be writing a haiku while we're playing the game. And then I have them categorized by different emotions.
Okay.
So like I have affirmative, I have negative, I have happy, I have sad, I have let's kill him, I have please heal me, I have patience. And I only
Please stop trying to kill me when you heal me.
Yeah. And and he only drops like, his name's Toku. And he only drops a haiku like once or twice.
Okay.
So he's hella...
Can't overdo it.
Oh, I can't. No. He's hella
Are you just
stoic.
quiet the rest of the game?
No, I just talk out of character. You know what I mean? Or be like, Toku gives you an eyebrow with the eye and brow he doesn't have.
That means blah, 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 blah,
Exactly.
blah, blah, blah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But like, we have fun with it. We have fun with it.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's been fun. We're kind of just burning through it. We just leveled to level 2 out of like 4 or 5 sessions.
I'm jealous. In our Rise of the Rune Lords game we're doing on the GSR Discord.
Run by the same
1.
GM.
Yeah, run by the same GM.
It's a fucking play-by post, Eric. What do you expect? It's supposed to take 9 years.
I expect to be at least level 15 by next week.
It takes 9 years to get to level 2 on a play-by post. Don't you know that?
We're enjoying the hell out of it, though. Yeah, one of our characters is an old lady witch, and she has a kind of like a hut, I guess, a shanty outside north of Sandpoint, outside the walls. And there was a goblin raid, so she's like, "We should I need to go home and see if my stuff's still there." So we just escorted her to her home, and everything, of course, was ransacked. So we're all just like being close and keeping an eye on things while she's just picking up all the goblin shit out of her blankets. And kind of just doing that, that's the small human moments, right?
Absolutely.
And while she's doing all that, the rest of us over on the side are like, this can't stand. What are we going to do? And one person says, I see tracks. There's 5 goblins going that way. We can still catch them.
Not our goblins.
And look to the old lady, Maggie. Look to him. This is irresponsible. We are far outclassed, and we're going to die. Let's do it. So now we're chasing goblins north out of Sandpoint. So yeah,
that's the most quintessential Pathfinder experience I've ever heard in my life.
Well,
chasing goblins out of Sandpoint because you got ransacked.
Yeah, that really is. And that's when the drugs started to kick in.
Hell yeah. Oh. By the way, if you're new here, this is a common section we like to call What We Played. We talk about what we played.
Played and run.
And every time we do this. Yep. Oh, yeah, and I ran Kingmaker. It went well. You guys did a level 5 fight and didn't die. Matter of fact, you did pretty well.
We did pretty well. Yeah, we actually used the strategery we were supposed to.
So proud.
Kept the the cavern walls to the back.
Tear to my eye.
Minimized the flanking opportunities for the bad guys, and it was fun too. It wasn't just a bunch of like, how do I math this for the next 2 hours? We were like having a good time.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Yeah, you did well, bud.
Thank you. We got a new character who really finally got to shine, I think. Austin's like gunslinger.
Little leshy gunslinger. It's cool.
Cute.
Crossbow wielder.
Yeah, but like crossbow growing out of your arm. I love the fantasy of it. I picked up some new TTRPGs.
You did? You got toys? Show
one
me.
of our patrons told me about this. It's not even a TTRPG. It's called Beak, Feather, and Bone. It's a map labeling RPG.
Labeling RPG.
Yeah, it's basically like you and a group of friends spend like a game session labeling a community.
Okay, it kind of feels like that microcosm.
Yeah, it is.
Little bit.
It is. It's just like that, except instead of doing a whole nation and like a history of like a whole lore, you just do like a small city. Exactly.
Yep. That's cool.
Yeah, and you use a deck of cards to like play the game, so it's super accessible. It comes with a little booklet and a couple like example cities. I haven't done it yet. I've done it with friends. I've been trying to I'll bring it to parties because it's a tiny little booklet for the patron for like everyone, all the goblins at home that are listening. It's literally just like a
staple book,
a staple book, like a 5x8
staple binding.
Yeah, and A2, I think it's what it's called.
Neat.
Anyway, yeah, it's super rad. I've been taking it to parties, and no one has ever wanted to play it with me. I'm just that guy.
You're hanging out with the wrong kind of nerds,
Hey, do you guys want to play this super cool indie RPG map labeling game? And they're like, Robert, this is a Wendy's. What are you doing? So
You do realize this is in public.
and then for Christmas, I got probably the greatest TTRPG ever made. I think we
This
might actually
thing's
have
fucking weird.
We might
I
have
mean,
to change our channel to focus on Tingleverse,
The Tingleverse.
the official Chuck Tingle role-playing game. I don't know if I could show this on YouTube. I might have to blur this out.
I don't know. None of these people are sponsoring this video. We're just
Absolutely
excited
not.
about cool shit.
I just like weird shit.
Yeah, and that is definitely in that category.
Apparently,
That is all of column A, B, and C combined.
Chuck Tingle is a incredibly famous author who wrote a number of short erotic stories and apparently published an RPG. And our friend
Yep.
gifted it to me for Christmas.
Is that a live action role playing game?
I hope so. If it's not, I'm going to make it one. Hey. So yeah, that's what I got. Those are my toys.
Neat.
So let's get back into our subject.
I ran Edgewatch
Oh yeah, that's
for the
right.
first time since the last week of September.
I wasn't there, so I forgot that it even happened.
Not a ton to talk about.
Really?
So, yeah, I mean, it was good. It was fun. I was excited about it. Nervous as all hell. When you've been running a game on the regular every other week for, I don't know, on and off for 3 years, and then you take like a 3-month hiatus, I was afraid to come back.
October, November, December, January. Wow, that's almost 4.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot. Yeah. And that's yet another reason why this campaign's taking so long to wrap up. But no, it was a lot of fun. I did a lot of things that session that I want to talk about here.
Hell yeah.
Because I prepped for it in a specific way and used some new things, new tools, props that I haven't used before.
Sick.
So,
Love
yeah,
it. All
I'm
right,
ready
cool.
to jump right in.
Let's do it. Yeah. So this episode's all about how we prep for games. I think as we've alluded to at the beginning of the pod, like Eric and I probably have very different ways of approaching this subject. So I've really only ever prepped one-shot adventures that I wrote almost exclusively. And now I ran the 5th edition Storm King's Thunder up to like level 9 or 10. So I got like halfway through the
impressive.
book. Yeah, I got halfway through the book. And then didn't run a game for a long time. And now I'm running Kingmaker, basically. I had a couple little stints of trying to start a campaign and failing in between, where we got to like 1st or 2nd level, 3rd level maybe. But this is really, the Kingmaker is really the game that I have run for a long time.
Yeah, and you're kind of really cutting your GM teeth on this one now. Do you find you have different processes for running things that you create, that you write out of whole cloth?
Oh, yeah.
Compared to like pre-prepared materials that you have to
way
read through?
easier because I don't feel like I don't feel bad for like not doing a thing that's in the book.
Yeah.
It's like for one shot.
That's a weird piece of guilt to have. I have that too.
Yeah, I think a lot of people have it. It's just like, oh, I'm not doing this story justice.
Right.
Even though it's your story. And also no one will know.
Yeah.
Who's going to know?
You're
gonna
running
know?
it wrong.
So like when I'm running my own game that I like came up with, I normally just create a 3-act structure. I literally just pick 3 fights. I pick a mook, a lieutenant, and a BBEG, and then I connect them with story beats that run through the whole thing. And Bob's your uncle. You're good to go. That's it. Maybe I'll toss a hazard or 2 in there, like a burning house or like a scary ghost. But that's it. And normally it's a lot of fun.
Scary burning house ghost.
Scary burning house ghosts. I run like I kind of run a one shot that's Halloween themed every Halloween every year for Halloween. That's a lot of fun. But yeah, because of that, I kind of have the story already mapped in my mind. I don't have any notes except for the monsters I'm going to bring.
Yeah.
That's it. I just fucking ball. And I like to act and I like to improvise while I'm DMing anyway. So when I'm running my own shit out of my own head, improvising comes super easy. And that's when I'm actually the most comfortable.
Yeah. For me, it's almost the other way. Again, depending on how last minute I waited to prepare for all this. I'm more nervous about prepping my original stuff because I have more emotional investment in it.
Oh, yeah.
And I need to make sure, I feel like I need to make sure, it's imperative, it's fucking imperative.
It is!
That it makes sense at the table.
Right.
Because if the things that I'm like in love with don't land even halfway well, it's super feel bad for me. So I take a lot of extra care over the original stuff. So like when I'm running Edgewatch and I'll have like chapter 3, we go bust open a bank. No, wait, we're cops. We catch the guys who are busting open a bank. and I want to throw a bunch of original stuff in there, which makes one session become 3. I take a lot of extra time on that extra stuff because you're not going to get that anywhere else. You got to come to my table for that shit.
Yeah.
You can go straight out of the book anywhere, any table. But, we had the same players for 3 years.
Good.
If you want the good drugs, you come to me.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a little extra nervous in my prep work when it's my original stuff versus the other stuff. But when it's pre-written stuff, oh my God, I feel the pressure more there. So I'm more nervous with the original, but I feel a lot more pressure when I'm running pre-written stuff because I've got to absorb somebody else's material.
Describe to me the difference, because I don't understand the difference between those two emotions you just described. What's the difference between pressure and nervousness?
Anxiety and nerves for me is how a thing is received.
Okay.
Pressure for me is how I'm going to deliver it. If I read a chapter out of a book and it makes no fucking sense and I can't figure out how this thing was put together, it is probably a sandbox and it just, I can't make it work in my head. Oh no, 4 hours to game. What am I going to do?
Yeah.
If I don't understand how a thing is put together and I'm supposed to present it in a TED Talk kind of a thing at the table, my brain doesn't function well with that. If I do the exact same thing, but it's my own shit, I can lean on the muscles I've already built. You know, my extemporaneous muscles, my gaggle of NPCs, reach into my duffel bag and pull one out. I know the questions to ask players to buy myself time to think of the next thing we're going to do. I can take a combat and start doing things differently during combat. I can break up the chronology of the events of whatever game we're playing. So I've learned over the years how to buy myself time to come up with the next thing while still keeping things interesting.
Right.
It's really hard for me to do that when I'm running Kingmaker or running Edgewatch, just purely somebody else's material. And that's tough for me. So yeah, that's a lot of pressure for me. And then I'll just fucking put it down and go for a walk. And look, now it's 2 hours until game. And then I'm like, fuck, okay. I pick it up. I just read the same page 3 more times. It still doesn't make sense. Throw it against the wall, go for a walk. Oh, look, 1 hour till game time. I hate that kind of pressure.
Do you take notes at all?
Yeah, all the time.
Okay, so tell me about, all right, so let's talk about your process for prepping a pre-written adventure then.
Okay.
And then we'll do mine, and then we'll go back to your other 2.
Sure. So I have 3 different buckets I pull from depending on what kind of prep I'm doing.
Right.
And I'll just go through them real quick. One of them, oh my God, what did I do? Game starts in 4 hours. I need to prep.
Right.
So typically my games run 5 hours because I do it on Saturdays. 12 to 5 is 5 hours. And I got to fill up 5 fucking hours. That's 5 separate 60-minute batches. No breaks for lunch.
Okay.
Everybody's going all the way through. That's a lot.
We bullshit. We give you time by bullshitting.
Absolutely, yeah. But I'm just saying it's different than like meeting on a Thursday and playing for 2 hours.
Yeah, totally.
So I feel the pressure to like make sure I have enough for you guys to play with.
Yeah.
So if I'm panicking, I do certain things because I just got to get something functional. But the other bucket is the one I'm really happy with when I'm in total control of the story and I know what everybody's going to do because we've been playing for so long and I know all your characters and you guys, I'd set things up and you guys kind of just do what you do because you know your characters. When I understand the parameters of a story, I prep a very specific way and it lets me reach farther. It lets me take greater risks. And by now you guys have given me enough buy-in that you'll go with my crazy shenanigans like asymmetric chronologies and just these really weird non-standard means of like me hiding information from you that certain players might expect to have up front.
Oh yeah, the one that comes to mind first and foremost is when we were doing a giant fight on like a waterfront and there was like a demon
I was so
attacking,
proud of this one.
And then it turns out it was all like a reenactment.
A 50-foot tall demon moving through the water, coming into the dock district, and just like rocks are pouring out of its guts. And, rocks are flying around, doing their thunder dances in the air. And then there's like other demons that leap out of the, the fanged belly on this 50-foot demon, and they start swimming through the water and coming up. And you guys are like, there's like 500 people in this crowd, and we have to do crowd control and protect them from this demonic onslaught. Meanwhile, none of this was foreshadowed at all in the previous like 3 years of playing. And you guys all around the table, I could see it in your eyes. What the fuck is going on here? You open with this? What is this? I even painted a miniature for it.
Yeah.
And I never do that. So I was like, I was ready for this. So we go through the entire thing, and every now and again, one at a time, I would pull one of you guys into the living room. And there was an instance where the halfling was flying, picked somebody up, and carried them to safety. And then, I pulled them into the other room, and I role played a bit. And, as I said, as the person who was being carried, God, you guys are really good at this. Thanks for including me in this. This is the best part of the festival.
You're really selling it.
You guys are really selling it.
Oh my God.
And having the world famous Absalonian, wizarding barding school put on this performance, I really want to thank you for including me in this. Okay. And then he kind of gets back into his character and he screams. and the player just kind of, this was Jacques.
Yeah.
And the player just kind of looked at me.
Who's been on the podcast? Check out the episode. It only has like 100 views.
Yeah. It's one of my favorite podcast episodes.
Me too.
So like one by one, I would just drop it.
Yeah.
And then that player would have to go to the table. Nobody else would know. Mm-hmm. And then a second person would know, then a third. Mm-hmm. And I would deliberately have a specific one of you go last.
So how did you prep for that then?
For that one, that was sort of a, I got a map. That's the first thing I did.
Right.
I have battle mats that I pull out.
That okay, for the audience, Eric is pulling out a battle mat, I think. Oh yeah, his mat book. Let me clear the table.
So these Loki mats here, mats.
It's this is probably like a 12 by 12
spiral bound,
so it opens up and there is 2 panels to it.
Yeah, they can be dungeons, caverns, and
Eric owns like every map in Map Folio anyone could ever want.
Yeah,
it's kind of crazy.
Yeah, and I love physical product over digital product. And the more I run, the more I want a table presence to be attractive. I want to look at shit on the table, and I'm going to get into that. Mm-hmm, I've had this trajectory over the years of how I want my games to look and feel and run. So for this specific game, what did I do? Well, I grabbed 4 of those books and made a big-ass battle map. Yeah. Like, I took all of the docs maps and just put them together in ways that look cool. Mm-hmm. And then, I grabbed a whole nother book, which was a smaller version of that one. And that one was just like a ship. Boom. I folded that one out.
And put it on the side.
Put it on the side, right?
Yeah.
And then I just started like putting different, poker chips all around. The red ones sprinkled everywhere. The yellow ones sprinkled everywhere.
Oh, that's right.
I
we got to
them.
randomly, in the middle of all of this, like it's like 2 sessions long, we got to randomly, he had a deck of NPC cards, and we could randomly like pick an NPC from the deck, and then it's correlated to a color chip, and then we could just like run one round of their turn.
As a part of your turn, you get your character's turn, and you get the whatever NPC.
That was fucking cool.
And I just wanted to get you guys engaged. So how did I prepare for it? I knew I wanted to tease the information and slow roll it. Easy enough. Preparation note number 1: pull the players into the living room one at a time over a period of 5 hours. We've got 5 players. It was 1 an hour. That was stupid simple. The math works itself. Check. Done. That's what I needed. Make sure I have a miniature, because if we're doing this set piece, there's got to be a boss fight mini. I went out and I fucking bought one. I just grabbed one I thought was cool. It was this weird like demon with a mouth on his belly and teeth, and he had like a headsman's hood. Yeah. Head chopper's hood. And I painted it, and I'm like, what kind of demon is this? And I went through my bestiary, and I found the one I thought was cool, and it was the appropriate level. And then I just kind of said, yeah, it doesn't look like that picture. It looks like this miniature.
Yeah.
Easiest reskinning in the world you can do. Yeah. You can do that with anything. You can do that with dragons.
But when you have a mini, it sells.
It does, yeah. And it looks like I put some work into it.
Absolutely.
So I dropped that fucker on the table. Everybody is looking at that for 5 hours. They're like, how many hit points does this guy have? All right. Recall knowledge this. Recall knowledge that. Oh, he's getting closer. Recall knowledge these. Recall knowledge. Oh, he's getting closer. So again, I'm buying time. I need to fill out this 5 hour gap. And it's one combat. So combats are typically like 1.5, 2 hours or so. how do you do a 10-hour combat? Because it's
I
just
don't
two
know,
sessions.
Eric. In this online
I added
game.
mechanisms.
Yeah.
So one of the mechanisms, as you pointed out, was I had an NPC deck and I had poker chips, and then I laid out like 5 different NPCs, 5 different color poker chips,
Right.
and then I threw all the poker chips out on the table in the crowd, around the docks and all that. And this one NPC is red. Anywhere you see a red poker chip, you can tag that guy, and this is that NPC for your round. Whatever it says he can do, he does. It might be level 1. It might be level 9. You don't know. And that's kind of the point. So that was, I thought, fun. Gave you guys toys to play with. Another thing I prepped for with that was, how do I do hero points in an interesting way? Because hero points are really fucking boring for me. And they just create these predetermined situations that kind of rub me wrong. So I like to gamify hero points. That's part of my prep. Well, how do I do it this time? These days, I have an alchemical deck, I have a hero point deck, and I have a, what's the other one? Talismans deck. So they're all different colors. I shuffle all those fuckers together, level appropriate, and then you guys pick 3, 1 from each color, and then you keep 2. Those are your hero points. You get 2 hero points. You can use them as a hero point, or you can do whatever it says on the bottom. So that's another thing you can use in this combat that's not on your character sheet. So my prep is, what tools do I give you guys to stay engaged and play with? You need fidget spinners if I'm going to run a 5-hour combat.
Okay.
So how do I get you fidget spinners? You know, what's on your character sheet isn't going to be enough in my experience. So I try to bring those to you guys in weird, interesting, fun, different ways, just to keep things different. And that, again, buys me time, because you guys are over here trying to min-max your whatever shit you got
Trying
going
to
on.
read.
Yeah, trying to read.
You know, I read slow, so.
What is this ability again? I've never seen this before. And you go to your phone. So that's another way I prepped. And in that specific game, it was basically give you shit to look at, give you shit to kind of like play with in terms of hero points, and then just scare the bejesus out of you by threatening bystanders, because you guys are the good guys, right? And just make it look like this epic thing, and then slowly kind of, you know, get the hook in there. Thanks for letting me in on this. This was a really cool experience. I'm going to remember it forever. I'm going to tell my kids about this forever.
Right.
And you're like,
what the fuck?
you son of a bitch.
What the fuck?
So that was cool. That particular one was a reenactment of a war that happened a couple of years ago in the city. So it was another bit of world building that I got to kind of expose you guys to. And it just served a lot of functions above and beyond buying time.
So you said that the one type of prep you have is for the last minute game.
Yeah.
The other type of prep you have is for the you've
When I have
planned it
total
forever
control.
total control
Yeah.
game. What's the third type?
The third time is somewhere in the middle. It's like, okay, I run every 2 weeks, right?
Right.
I should be prepping 2 weeks in advance because I have 2 weeks, right? Yeah, that doesn't happen.
No.
So a week goes by. Fuck, I've only got a week and it's game time. But I still have a week. What do I do with that? I take smaller bites. And I like on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then Saturday's game. On Monday, I'll be like, okay, don't try to do everything at once, Eric. Let's focus on the combat. Take a look at the monster and find an interesting way and place to have that combat. That's all you do. Don't think about NPCs. Don't think about anything else. And I'll try to find a cool way to have this this combat. If I'm using a troll hound, let's say, okay, do I put it in a sandbox? Do I put it in a cave? Do I put it in an alleyway? Do I put it in a rich man's bathroom? I mean, what's an interesting way to do this combat? Are there multiple levels? Is it all just like a sandy beach? Just what kind of terrain is there? Focus on making the combat interactive and navigable and fun. Make it a puzzle combat. That's all I do for the Monday. And on Tuesday, I don't think about combat because that's done. I can't go backwards. I got to go forwards. I'm a shark at this point. So number 2, all right, what's the actual plot? How do we get from A to Z? And what are all the letters in between? Only think about connecting the scene to the scene to the scene to the scene. I'm done with that. Wednesday comes around. All right, which of those scenes has the combat that I just did? Plop it in there. Okay, that hole's filled. I've got other holes. What are my other 4 or 5 holes? Well, an NPC needs to be in there somewhere. Put him in this hole over here. Okay, great. What else is there? A second combat. Okay, I'll find a monster. Okay, I've got 2 more holes to fill. What are they? Fuck. Okay. We did this, we did that. One of the characters wants to do something. That's going to be that hole. Okay, another character wants to do that thing. Done. That's my 5 holes I had to fill for the plot. That's going to take 5 hours to do. And then Thursday comes, I do another thing. So I basically just take them in bite-sized chunks.
So it sounds like to me, day one, you either identify the plot, which is identify the structure of the session.
Yeah.
In buckets.
What do I want to get done in
action.
5 hours? Yeah.
Yeah. And then you identify the combats. You prep a combat a day, a night, maybe for an hour after work or something like that.
Yeah.
And piece it together.
Yeah. And I limit the amount of time I spend on each individual thing for that middle bucket we're talking about.
What's the prep actually physically look like? What are you
doing? One
of
2 things. I am either at the hookah lounge because that's kind of where I'm. I feel good and I'm peaceful and I'm like, I can ideate like a motherfucker here. I'm in my groove when I'm at the hookah lounge. So I'll be there and I'll generally do it all at once.
Right.
I'll sit there for 4 or 5 hours and just do it on a Friday night.
Got it.
6 o'clock rolls around, I'm there till midnight or 1. And that's way too much hookah for one person.
Absolutely. So, you're going to die on
not smoking the whole time.
Right.
Well, secondhand. But, wherever I am, my home office at home, I do it there too. So I'll if I'm there in that kind of a setting, I'll just do it all at once just because I can and I'm there. If I'm just doing it bit by bit by bit by bit, I use Google Docs and I do it on my phone while I'm at work, at lunch, driving to or from work, and just like idea 1 here, bullet point here, bullet point there, bullet point here. Everything's bullet points for me when I'm doing it this way. I don't do paragraphs and try to interconnect them in some great epic thing. I just do 1 or 2 sentence bullet points and move on. Bullet point, move on. I can stretch that shit out later.
Right.
But just bullet points.
And by later, you mean at the table?
At the table or the night before.
Got it.
Yeah. So that's pretty much it. Those are my 3 situational GM prep things. And that doesn't even count what do I physically bring to the table. Because that's also different depending on...
It's a huge portion of the game.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's the visual interest.
Yeah. And for a lot of people like me who are visually inclined, this is the stuff I remember. So, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
I'll pause there because there's a ton more to talk about.
Yeah, I'll jump into my prep because I only have one simple way to prep things. It largely relies on Notion. Notion, because I run my life through this one app called Notion. I will say though, the kids, the little goblins on the
wee ones,
the wee ones on the Discord have slowly but surely talked me into Obsidian. And now that I'm using
bastards.
Now that I'm using Notion to like
I finally learned Notion and now you got them on Obsidian?
Yeah, it's the same thing. It's the same thing.
Is it though?
It is. It's the same thing, except it's free. It's like open source Notion.
Okay.
And so the thing is,
you're still
I'm going to totally sidetrack real quick, but like bear with me. I swear to God, I'm going to come around.
Chill, baby, chill.
Notion, in order to collaborate, because I'm like working on some small businesses with friends and helping them like build their small business with them. I'm creating a Notion to help them like ideate and build everything in one centralized place so that they have notes about how their systems work and they can build a business from there. So each one of those things costs $10 a month.
Yep.
And each person you add is $10 a month to collaborate. And, I'm up to like $50 a month. And I'm like,
nope. Free shit, please.
I'm in free shit. I'm like, okay, we're done here.
Yeah.
We're done here. So I love you, Notion. We've had a long relationship. Also, the AI.
It's time to see other people.
I'm at the point now where I'm an enjoyer of tasteful AI, like tasteful pornography. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But when it gets in your way, when they're like forcing it down your throat and they're like, use it, hit the space bar and it'll start typing. So in Notion, if you hit the space bar, start typing, that's your hotkey to like start asking AI stuff. And then they charge you for it on the back end. And I'm like, bro, I hit spacebar accidentally all the time. Like I got fidgety hands.
Yeah, I fell asleep on my spacebar last week.
Literally. So
they're charging me hotel rates.
It's just fucking obnoxious at this point. Yep. So AI developers, I know you're listening, along with Notion developers. Stop it.
Yeah, just stop.
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 It's annoying. Like AI in Lightroom Classic where it like auto masks the subject. Good. I like that. It saves me time doing a thing I hated. But like, don't get in my way.
Right.
Anyway, so
Keep talking. I'm just going to unpack my GM
Eric
bag.
is for the Goblin listeners. Eric is just pulling out all his little tchotchkes that he brings to game, which I love.
Sooner or later, we're going to transition to what's physically on the
dude.
table.
Eric is the king of tchotchkes. It's kind of
I'm
insane.
a tchotchke aficionado.
He has a problem. So
I don't have a problem.
here's my
quit
process.
anytime.
Okay, bud. Here's my process. He's got little rings. Anyway, so here's my process. First, my goal is to prep for to have 2 sessions worth of prep done at all times. Because my players are notorious for just like, I'm running a sandbox game. They will skip over your session's worth of content by just saying, no, thank you, and going in a different direction. Right?
I resemble that remark.
So I resemble that remark. Exactly. So I always try to have 2 sessions worth of prep done and quote unquote prepped. What does prepped look like? Prepped is notes in Notion. And when I say notes, I use the term very loosely. I remember things. To me, prepping a game is learning about the story that's supposed to happen and turning the paragraphs they give you into incredibly short bullet points.
Sure.
That's what prep is. It's nothing more, it's nothing less. So I've built an extensive like network in Notion for Kingmaker. So Kingmaker is a sandbox. It's got regions. Each region has a hex. Each hex has one or multiple encounters in it, right? So that means there's one mega page for Kingmaker. Then there's a regions tab in Kingmaker. And then in that folder, we have all of the different regions within the whole game.
Right.
Within each of those regions is each hex. Each hex has its own description of what the fuck is supposed to happen.
Sure.
Right? And this is where the nitty-gritty happens. This doesn't work unless you have the PDF. So I'm heavily relying on the PDF of the adventure to kind of get me through all of this because I've got the PDF on one screen and I've got my Notion page on the other.
Yeah, your computer's open for all of this, and that's an important detail.
I heavily rely on my computer for all of my running the game and also prepping it. So first, I get into that section. I think of it as like a room, if you will, in a dungeon. A room in a dungeon is the same as like a hex on the Hexploration in Kingmaker. Sure. So I make the sections and the subsections for each place, encounter, or important thing, right? The first thing I do is I read that one tiny section. Boom. I read it in its entirety. And then I do my best to summarize whatever the fuck is happening in like one sentence. Like big, bold at the top. Fish lady wants to make a deal with the players. She's got a cursed item. So I can skim through all my notes, look at the first bold sentence and just be like, oh yeah, this is the fish lady one. Done. Yep. Because it's a sandbox. You guys can go in 9 directions at any time.
Yep.
So
kind of like a mnemonic. You're doing this by mnemonics.
Right. Next, I have bold and in italics at the top with the read player, that player text you have to read to the players. I love that, by the way. If you're a designer, write more, read to your players. It makes running the game much easier for me.
And please write better.
I don't actually I'm not good enough at writing to actually have an opinion about your writing. I just want more of it.
ChatGPT is your friend.
Please do more of it.
Yeah, I'm a super fan, by the way, too, all the way back.
So at the top in bold italics, I have read this, you idiot. And then quote, and then the text I'm supposed to read, copy pasted out of the PDF. This is a lot of this is copy pasted out of the PDF. And then I write the simplest and shortest notes about what's going to happen. So it's like, we got the fish lady, we got you walk up to the fish lady, you walk up to the pond and see a ripple floating along the still pond. A head comes out of the thing offering the players a question. And then I write, fish lady effect, 30-foot area, DC this.
Yep.
Okay, so that means when I'm like, because when I'm running the game, I've got my computer in front of me with the Notion page on right here. I get to that and I'm like, I read everyone the italics, and I'm like, my eyes literally skimming. Everyone make a DC this check, please. And then, and then everyone makes the check, and then I have the effect underneath the DC, and I'm describing a hazard to you maybe, and then I paste this is really important. What's cool about Notion is you can hyperlink to things, and in Notion and in other note-taking apps like Obsidian, you can embed pages within your Notion page. So I will have an entire monster stat block embedded in my Notion page next to the notes about how I want them to act. So if I read the paragraph, if I read the section and it says, this guy's an asshole and tries to kill players before he moves on to another one, I have their whole fucking stat block that is just like pulled from Archives of Nethys. Fucking love those kings. And then I have the notes about how to actually run the monster. So if it's like, this monster fucks, he's got a big AoE, and then do this. Normally I'll write like, do big AoE first, then walk up to someone and attack them. That's
the time-consuming part at the table and during prep, I think, at least for me. Understanding how monsters function in combat in the correct way, or at least in interesting ways, that's not intuitive for me. I have to work at it. So being able to have just sort of like a shorthand for understanding the monsters is great. And you use your Notion to pull it up. I actually print it up in hard copy, the stat block.
Boomer.
Everything I need to run my game is right in here. So this is my computer.
Oh, you've got a nice leather bound.
Yeah. One of my agents gave me this.
Yeah, your players spoil you. I literally write down like, hey, idiot, here's the thing, so you don't have to look it up for later. Here's how the monster's going to kill your party. And then if it's like an NPC, I try to write their starting attitude, and then I try to write what they're trying to get out of the situation.
Nice.
Like
there's... You know what I do for starting attitude? I use this die.
Really? The smiley face die?
It has frowny face, angry face. It has mischief face. It has smiley face. I'm a role player, and I fall into the trap of going, God, I just did that kind of interaction. I should probably mix it up. Fuck, now I'm overthinking it, and I'm sucking up time, and my pacing just went to shit. So this little guy has saved my ass more times. And this is time I can devote to other things during prep. And I'm sure you have your version of that too.
Well, if they already have, like, a lot of NPCs will have a starting attitude towards the players, like mechanically. And that's what I'm talking about.
Like the pre-written stuff?
Yeah. Like when I say starting attitude, I mean the mechanical starting attitude. Sure. Like they don't like you. So, that fixes the range of whether or not they're going to like. Yeah. But I like this is like,
that's
are they, well, like a dice with smiley faces on it or mad faces is like, are they having a good day or a bad day?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Oh, they're having a bad day.
Random encounters. And you can use them for like, the badger that came up on the party.
Yeah.
So anyhow, continue.
And then if it's an NPC, I write the starting attitude, like I said, and then I put the treasure for the encounter, big, bold at the bottom. So I've got super short bullet pointed notes. I've got a monster or a hazard or whatever the fuck is happening with notes next to it, hyperlinked and pulled into the page. Then I have treasure at the bottom. And then I put a big line, like a big bold line, and then I literally copy paste the entire section from the PDF into the Notion at the bottom. So if I need to just read the adventure path, like I don't have the PDF in front of me. I just have the copy paste
before prep work. It sounds like you're doing like mass prep before you even need some of this stuff.
No.
Many weeks down the line? Or is this all literally for the following week's game?
This is what I do.
Wow, that sounds like a lot, but it's not a lot for you?
Oh, dude, I could burn through these in like 10 minutes.
That's crazy to me.
Like each room.
I should watch you do it sometime.
Just imagine like in each room, right? I've got the PDF, I've got the thing, I read the section, I read the room, and I'm like, oh, it's a two hobgoblins jerking each other off. They get caught mid jerk and they go to fight you. They don't have their armor. Goblins jerking each other off, jumps to fight naked. That's what I write on the top of the patient.
Extreme encounter. You will lose.
Yeah.
It will get messy.
And then I put the I hyperlink a hobgoblin, the monster I'm going to use, right up there. And then I make a note next to it that says they're naked because they were jerking each other off. And then I write the the XP at the bottom and the treasure. When I say treasure, I'm talking XP and the stuff you get.
Okay. Do you do anything like zero in on specific abilities they have, like 3 action circle jerk, and just kind of like highlight that? Because
if they have a cool ability, I'll write next to it'll be like a 2 column, and on the left it'll be the hyperlink, and on the right it'll be like the melee option. The melee guy moves up, and the hobgoblin archer has an ability
that's something I need to get better
bonuses
at.
them.
Yeah,
because like I'm the rules lawyer at our tables. I'm the combat guy. The one thing my games should be really good at is having a dynamic combat. Like my games, I pride myself in having good combats because that's all I'm good at.
Play your strengths.
You know, I have one strength, and I try to at least be strong in that one strength.
One Punch Man.
And then I literally copy paste the whole section underneath everything. So if I need to dig and find a specific thing I didn't think of, if something pops up and I didn't realize it, I can just read the Notion, and I don't have to switch and change gears. And that's it. That's my room. And then when you guys go to a next room, you know, in the Notion on the left bar, you've got a main folder, and then each subfolder, each page underneath of it is each room. So the rooms are labeled specifically like in a book, you know how they have like room A1, room A2. It's A1 colon and then the name of the room.
Yep.
A2 colon name of the room. That way I can just click the new room. As you walk through the rooms, I click the rooms. Yeah. That's it.
One of the things I do, since we're on this topic here, and I want to jump in.
Yeah.
I do my version of exactly what you're saying when I go room by room by room. One of the things that I do in addition to what the printed material says is I give every room something of a 5 senses treatment.
Oh.
See, touch, hear, smell, feel.
I like this.
Wait, I said touch twice. What did I miss?
He's a touchy boy.
You see things, you touch things, you hear things, you smell things, you taste things.
Taste. Super taster.
So if there's 5 senses, I add a 6 for supernatural for those who are attuned to, you know, shenanigans. So that's 6 things. I will pick 2 of them, and I'll just randomly decide which ones.
Okay.
You know, this room has a taste and a smell. This room over here has things that you can see and things that you can, lick. And so I just kind of like do that.
There's a soup.
And as we go into the room and I read the flavor text, I can just read the flavor text and just let it sit. Or I can be like, this is kind of juvenile flavor text. I'm not reading that. I will feel dumb if I read that. And I can come over here to my 5 senses treatment. And for instance, here in the disabused bathhouse, exterior tunnel, you can see total dark, rusty iron hinges, the mark of Norgorber if you make a DC 26 perception. Here, question mark, smell, rusty iron rings, brick, touch, stone walls, iron rings, taste, brick dust. I don't need flavor text if I have that. So you're walking down the corridor, and for those of you who have dark vision, you can see out ahead, and you're wondering where the tang of rust is coming from. You look around and you don't see bars. It might be from around the corner. Is there anything around the corner? You stretch out with your ears. You can't quite tell perception text. And just kind of like move with that.
Damn, that was sexy.
You can fake anything.
When are you going to start an OnlyFans? Jesus Christ.
Let me put my feet on camera. So yeah, in this particular dungeon, I've got 12 rooms. All of them get the 5 senses treatment. Right. And a lot of it's super fucking redundant, which is okay because there's 6 senses essentially. And you can mix and match them from room to room so it feels different even though it's the same content. That's a really cheap and easy way to do that. The reason why that's important for me is it lets me spend my time prepping elsewhere in areas where I'm weak. All of us GMs have places where it hurts to prep, and others where it does not hurt to prep. And there's only so much time to get ready for a game. So by doing this, I can spend my time on stat blocks because that's when I'm weak.
So for NPCs, when I'm doing an NPC or an interaction or something like that, like in the city, like a non-combat thing, I've got a whole list of NPCs based on the region they're in Kingmaker or the affiliation they have. And what's cool about Notion is that you can just like, you know, let's say we're in the town and a player was just like, I want to go talk to Marta. I'm like, fuck, shit. All right, and then I go to I just
What do I do now?
Control F Marta in my Notion.
Yeah.
And Marta's
Luxury.
page comes up. I click Marta's name. Her whole Notion page comes up, and I have Marta's background, whatever they gave me in the book, and then I have whatever I've written for Marta, like because I like to tie in my own little garbage, or like when the players do something fun and it's not canon, I make it canon by tying it in. So, you know, maybe Marta wasn't supposed to be a main character. She was just like a no name, but the characters loved her. So I gave her like a...
Yeah, Marta from Sparta.
Yeah, exactly. She's secretly a
She
fucking
kicks people into holes.
badass warrior. Marta's fucking ripped. So I've got the tiny notes and bullet points, and then I have notes like underneath all of that. So every time you interact with Marta, from Sparta, she, you know, I'm like typing furiously as you guys talk to her, and I interact with you. You know what I mean? And as you say stuff, or as I create new lore on the fly, I make a note of it.
Yeah, you constantly had that sort of like balance beam that you can touch, that touchstone right there in front of you on your screen.
Yeah.
So you can interact with us over here while you're absorbing and trying to stay a step ahead over here.
Yeah.
And that's invaluable.
Yeah.
This doesn't do that effectively. This is sort of like, okay, I'm back.
Yeah.
And having to go back and forth, it's tough. So the way I prep, I don't know if I can do this with a computer. I haven't tried. Like having a laptop in front of me at the game. I don't know. Maybe it's something I should try someday.
It'd be cool,
But,
I don't know. You have your iPad that you love.
I
Maybe
do
try with the
but
iPad.
The fucking thing, it keeps turning off, and I keep having to turn it back on, and I can't find the setting that lets it just stay the fuck on and drain the battery. I've looked. I think they stole it. I think they took it out. I think somebody's
Those
having
bastards.
a ribbing on me.
Those bastards.
So yeah. One of the things when I'm having my good prep and I'm in control of everything and I know what's going to happen because I know what's going to happen because I know what's going to happen, I like to play around with the chronology of a sequence. So like if we have 5 hours in the session and that session has important beats that take place over a week's period, Monday through Friday, one important thing happens on Monday, one on Tuesday, one on Wednesday. Most of the time we play in these games and we just move forward through time. You know, you wake up in the morning, you punch a goblin in the face, you get your breakfast, you get ready to go to the gym. There's a troll, you kick him in the nuts with your flaming boots so he can't regenerate.
Yep.
And then you move on through your day, and then you know you rescue the princess by dinner, and you're good. It's forward. It's easy. It's how we've been playing for decades. But I like splitting up the chronology a lot.
Okay.
So when I'm singing and I got time, I've got a 12-room dungeon here. And those of you who are playing my game, spoilers coming up. So
Plug your ears.
Edgewatch Absalom, Chapter 11, Deadly Games. Room E1 and E2, Jordy spills the beans about the apartment in the puddles. Room E3, E4, Acilia's connections reveal Franca's new job at the Aurorium and sends them to the Master of Swords, Lord Ganfin at the Aurorium.
Lord Gandalf.
E5, E6, entering the games with the Eberarchs. So I have 2 rooms in the dungeon,
Yeah.
and then I have a scene that took place somewhere else in the week.
Right.
And then when that scene's done, we have 2 more rooms in the dungeon that we're going to based on the player
peak
choices.
Anime right here.
And then
you've got the main fight, and then like halfway through the fight, the character's like, I'm struggling. Let me take an entire chapter to go think about my childhood past.
This sounds cheesy as fuck, but I'm telling you,
works.
man, it works.
It fucking works.
And
dude.
it keeps your pacing unpredictable.
Yeah.
And that's how I get through 5-hour sessions. E7, E8, questioning the gladiators turns up the clue that Franca is tending the beasts in the
Oh shit.
in the pens.
Oh shit.
So I'll have like the combat thing, the map thing, the dungeon thing. We're gonna get through 2 rooms and then we're gonna shift. And when we shift, we get to get into talkie fun time, and people get to be in character and go interrogate people, investigate things, and do that. And then they get to a certain point. About 3 days in the future, you go into the bathhouse room and you step into that room and blah, blah, blah. Look, there's a flaming skeleton with the monk's robe. And you do the fight.
This gets to one of my favorite things about TTRPGs in general. I've said it a million times. I'll say it a million more. TTRPGs live in the 4th dimension. we have length, width, height, and then time.
Time travel, baby.
And as a DM, you can speed up time, you can slow down time, but more powerfully, you can jump between times.
Yeah. And
that's the power of a storyteller.
Not an easy thing to do well. And I'm not saying I always do it, but I prep for it, which increases my odds of pulling shit like that off.
And the only way you do something well is by practicing it.
Yeah, yeah.
So you got to just give it a fucking shot and flub and ask for forgiveness from your players.
Yeah, so when I'm in panic mode, there's no fucking way I would prep like this. No
That's
way.
some Giga Brain shit right there. Yeah.
Like, I'm in panic mode. You guys get a combat.
Yeah.
And an RP scene if you're lucky.
Right.
So yeah, different kinds of prep for different kind of situations. Where were you going after that?
I'm pretty much done. That's pretty much like that simple process of read, copy, paste, and super bullet points at the top. That I do that for NPCs. I do that for combats. I do that for locations. I do that for hazards. I try to make everything one page. Every interaction is one page or
at a glance.
One room.
Yep.
And then I just create multiple rooms that are really well organized.
So your prep work is how do I access the things I need when I need them? That's how you do your prep work.
Yeah, because by interacting with the book in that way and creating the notion myself, I learn the adventure. It's kind of like taking notes.
Gotcha. My approach, I suppose, would be how do I understand the linkages between beats? That's where my focus is.
What's a beat?
A beat? A combat with a troll would be a beat.
Okay.
I know what the beginning and end of that looks like. An interaction with the Magister of Abjuration Magic at the Arcanumarium. That conversation, entering the room, hey man, can I have a moment of your time? Leaving the room with the secrets of a spell. That's a beat.
Cool.
If I have 5 hours, each hour only gets one beat because through trial and error, we know how long this shit takes. And what should have been one session ends up taking 3 sessions if you're not careful.
Okay, so a story,
I have
a moment.
A story moment, yeah.
Okay.
And if that beat is completed in the first 20 minutes, sure, we can move on. But that's 40 minutes you just bought yourself. What can we do with that?
Right.
You over there in the corner on your phone, what are you doing during all this? Let's explore this moment here. Let's linger on the on some of the details for a moment, see if you can get something out of it. Or we can fucking move on if everybody's bored.
Yeah, exactly.
It's it's as long as you keep the pacing going. Everything is at the mercy of pacing in my world.
Got it.
I will burn the fucking world down if it will get me another hour of pacing. Well-paced game.
Got it.
It's all this is just horseshit and details. It's all about how do I craft a well-paced game. So at the end of 5 hours, in my case, 2 to 3 hours in your case, at the end of the night, they're like, it's time to go home? No.
Got it.
I want to keep going.
I see what you're saying.
So how do I
that's
do
what
that?
you mean by pacing.
I take a beat, I give it an hour's worth of playground to play in, and I monitor that playground and the people who are playing in it and make sure that it's finished in that 60 minutes. And if it finishes soon, how do I nurture and move the players to interact with it a little bit more to get more of that zhuzh out of that?
So would you say that like your goal as a DM is to create that one more turn effect in the players? Do you know what I'm talking about?
I do, yes. This is almost the, yes, but not exclusively.
Okay.
There's something about the sense of completion. Like, I did it. I'm done. There's nothing else to do.
Right.
I fucking did it. I A+ that scene. I feel good about this. It's done. I don't want any more. I'm ready to move on. That's the thing I love. If I can't get that, then yes, the one more, the cliffhanger, the next time on Batman. I'll go for that because, you're not always going to get the gold. You're going to have to settle for silver sometimes. Yeah. And sometimes if you wait till the last minute to prep, you're lucky if you get bronze.
But then you're happy that you get bronze because you got something.
You placed.
Yeah, exactly.
That's that ain't nothing.
That ain't nothing. Sick. So let's talk about, now that we've kind of talked about how we prep for the game before we get to the table, let's talk about how we, I don't want to talk about us, how we run games, but I do want to talk about how we sit at the table. You've gotten out all your tchotchkes. I've got my tchotchkes down here on the ground. Let's kind of, we got like maybe 15 minutes each, run through our tchotchkes and how we set a game up.
I want to do that. And while we're doing that, I'd like to talk about the value propositions
Let's do it.
everything we just talked about and this. So why don't you start, and then I'll do the value prop.
Got all your shit out. Okay, cool.
Or I can start.
First off, I've got my joy box, my box of joy.
This is a joyous box.
This is a gift box that I got from someone, or I gave to someone, and I ended
Did that
up
from
keeping.
Justin Timberlake?
It has J on it, so maybe.
You should probably watch out. You know what's in that box.
Did Justin Timberlake get canceled or something?
No, the dick in the box.
Oh.
Kit.
I'm like, where are we going?
You put it in the box.
Got a dig in the box. So, I'm a Warhammer player, as everyone knows. I love magnets because they're magic.
Your penning is getting so good.
Thank you.
Yeah, it really is.
So this is just an old gift box. I put a piece of metal sheeting in it, and inside of this box of joy are the players' painted minis.
Yep.
They have their own special box, and what I did is basically I put a piece of metal at the bottom, and then I made sure to get 25 mil bases that are raised, so I can put a magnet at the bottom, and they magnetize with neodymium magnets at the bottom, and this is where my players' PCs go. And I love having the joy box, the box of joy, sitting in the center of the table when everyone arrives to the game. I open up the joy box, and I get to hand each player.
It's a delightful little ritual at the beginning of ech game.
I get to hand each player their mini.
Yeah.
And then we get into the game.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's almost like the what do you call it? Like the donning of the armor scene in King Arthur, in Achilles at the gates of Troy. It's sort of like, this is your miniature. Now we're ready for battle.
So I always have, before anyone gets to the gets to the table, the game, the tame goal, the tame. Anyway,
Are you stroking over there?
I don't know what I'm doing. I've had alcohol. I've had alcohol. I've got a plexiglass. I'm an old school grognard. I love me some plexiglass on top of a mat.
That's not even old school. That's fairly new, man.
I've been doing, dude.
I think you were the one who taught me how to do that. Yeah,
dude.
Yeah. I was way late to the party.
Tim Gibbs, fucking plexiglass on top, scratched as fuck plexiglass on top of a giant battle mat.
Everybody's got their metal fucking dice that are just chunking out the table.
Hell yeah,
chunking out the
scratch
plastic.
that motherfucker up.
Yeah.
So we've got this. So when players get to my house and they see the table, I've got plexiglass on top of a big mat. I've got a handful for the listeners at home. I'm picking up a box that's just chock full of Expo markers that are dry erase. I've got a bunch of different dry erase markers, the colors, you know what I mean? You can hear it. ASMR right here. So I've got a big box full of markers. I've got the plexiglass out. I've got my laptop, muy importante. This is the freaking laptop that's got Notion loaded up. It's got the PDF of the adventure loaded up just in case. And that's about it, pretty much. Nice. Oh, and I just have Archives of Nethys in a tab most of the time. Then I have my Hero Point coins.
Oh, I love these things. God, I love these
things.
So
someone Gabby gave me some dope Hero Point coins.
It did start with Gabby.
It started with Gabby.
Aww.
And the rum
Gabby.
company I work for also makes these wonderful heritage style challenge coins.
God, these are delightful.
They're heavy metal. Yeah, ASMR put it up to the mic. ASMR for the goblins at home.
ASMR.
Okay, that's enough of that. That's disgusting. Ugh.
I love it.
So they're big, chunky coins, and I have them in a stack in front of me when the players show up.
Fucking
and
doubloons.
then I literally chuck them at the players.
Hero
Here's your
points.
hero point. They've got heft. They've got girth. They've got weight to them.
Yeah.
I think that's really important because it's not just like a number on your box. It's your point for the session. You're holding it.
Yeah.
When you go to spend it, you can toss it at the GM flippantly. You can be like, slam it on the table, push it forward like you're in a gambling game and be like, I'm in.
It tickles that kinesthetic pleasure point in your brain the same way that dice do when you're holding it and kind of moving it around in your hands and then you chuck it across. There's something delightful about touching things and feeling things. It's one of those five senses.
Absolutely. Just like Eric, I've got my book.
Yeah, you do.
my wonderful players, including Eric, bought me Kingmaker, the actual book, when we got started, and I have a wonderful. I have one wonderful bookmark in it, but I have many other bookmarks.
This is how we conned him into running this thing for us. We bought it for him.
So I've got the book in front of me. It's not always open, but it's always there with a bookmark in the section I'm about to run. In case I need to go dual screen, basically. It allows me to have my laptop up with Notion notes and then have access to the raw material right in front of me.
It also has all the art, so you can show us what we're looking at.
That's the other thing I do. I forgot to mention is when I'm in Notion, I copy paste I try to copy paste the art from the PDF into Notion. A lot of times you can just right click, copy image, and then paste it into Notion. Other times you can just screenshot the page and screenshot the art. What I like to do if I'm like really on top of my game, we're all in a Discord together. So I'll copy the image and then paste it into the Discord channel for the game chat. And then I'll be like, hey, everyone, check the Discord for the art. And then everyone can like collectively
that was a game changer for me.
Look at the art together and be like, oh, dude, this is fucking rad. Instead of like showing people the book and stuff like that, they can just like, bam, art right in front of you.
That's almost as cool as the fact that like the past tense of screenshot is screenshot. Continue.
I have the greatest GM tool ever invented.
Whoop, whoop.
This is the Pathfinder Combat Pad. Dude, clink. This is a piece of metallic board. Magnetized board with little name tags. Magnetized to it. It's all dry erase friendly. You can there's notes on the right.
I've got all of your characters' names like permanently on theirs, and they're color coded. Ajax is on gray, Elmo's on green, Jez is on
red. Mine are color coded.
And Vaz is blue.
Mine are all the same color.
That so that when I drink during games, I don't have to fucking read anymore.
Your little chits are all different colors. Mine aren't different colors. Yeah. Oh, you have the new one.
Yeah, because they're. I think it's like green for NPC, red for monsters, blue for PCs. I need color coding so I don't have to think.
I think maybe mine is the first edition one. Gabby gave this.
Looks like it.
Gabby gave this to me a while ago. But this thing is so fucking useful.
It is, and it takes no space at all.
It really doesn't.
You can stick it inside your Kingmaker book.
Exactly. So
it's a bookmark.
It's if you're gonna buy one tchotchke as a DM, if you're gonna buy one physical thing to help you run a game.
You
buy the Pathfinder Combat Pad.
You can track death saves with it. You can track fucking hit points with it. You can track turn order with it. You can track so much with this thing. And did we mention it's magnetized?
Yeah, it's a fancy dry erase. Pad.
It's like $25 too.
It's magnets. How do they work? No one knows.
No one knows. It's magnets.
My wife got me. My wife got me this beautiful leather-bound rolling. What do you call these rollers? Roller boxes?
Dice mats?
Dice mat. Years ago, it's got my name on it. It's made out of real leather. And then I've got my player dice and my DM dice, my killer dice and my.
So what's the value proposition of this? What does this add to your game that you wouldn't have if you left it at home?
Having the dice mat?
Yes.
Well, first off, now that I'm an old gamer and I'm not a part of the gentry anymore. I play with exclusively metal dice, darling.
Good as fuck. What do you
darling, those are metal dice. Thank you very much.
You're fucking up my plexiglass with that.
So, because of the metal dice, I have a leather. I have like a little leather rolling tray.
Yep.
Because when these things hit the ground, if I'm on someone's wooden table, I don't want to nick and scratch up that wooden table. I don't want to fuck anyone's stuff up.
Yep.
So I like to have a little rolling tray from my metal dice. It keeps them contained.
That has earned its place at the table because everything we bring to our games, whether we're players or GMs, it takes up real estate.
It has to earn its spot.
What's the value prop?
The other thing about it is like this is kind of always in front of me in the center of the table. I don't like playing with hidden dice. That's just my personal taste. If I need to cheat, I will. I'll just make the monsters have more health.
Sure.
You don't know.
Right.
So I like to have all the rolls be visible by my players most of the time. So I will roll, and this dice pad is in the center, and I will roll, 14, and these are my DM dice.
Sure.
You're lucky I'm not running my
I
player
have to
dice.
trust SS14 because I can't fucking read that thing.
You can't?
No. I'm sitting next to you and I can't read it.
You're an old man.
At Kingmaker Sessions, I'm
Eric.
sitting next to you and I can never read your fucking dice.
Really?
I hate modern dice so much, and that's one of the reasons why I'm so, particular about the dice I
the
get.
dot
I need to be
dice.
able to see shit.
Yeah.
And not that I don't trust the people I game with, but if there's important numerical
Dude,
things I need to track, I
Eric
gotta be
is
able to see your
saying
fucking
this,
dice.
but also has a brown
use that
dice
die.
with black numbers.
Those are my
so
Chilaxian
terrible.
dice. That was for my fucking lawyer.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
I wanted metal and
Yeah,
red
yeah.
and flames.
No, honestly, a lawyer would have shitty dice that no one can read. Like, we're being honest.
Yeah.
So I've got my dice tray. I've got my dice bags. I've got one bag for my player dice, one bag for my DM dice. I do not mix them. I only DM with one set of dice, and I only play with another set of dice. I joke about them
I
being
eat my food the same way.
I joke about them being fixed, but they're not. It's just
Yes, they are.
one is set. They're both from my wife, but one set was given to me from Gen Con, and then the other set was from another con she went to, and that was when I was getting into DMing, so it's kind of became I like to have certain things for certain uses.
Right.
I'm a bag guy. I like having one bag for one use, and it always has my stuff that I want for that use in it. I like the compartmentalization.
Yeah. For dice,
Finally,
go ahead.
I was gonna say finally, I have a big box of minis.
you got to. That's the same fucking box from when I met you.
Dude, this thing is cardboard falling apart. I love it.
I don't know what originally shipped in that box, but
This is the original
9
Reaper
years.
minis.
yeah.
This is the
Those
original
bones.
Bones minis. Yeah, Bones Reapers minis from the first ever release they
And
did
you
on
never
Kickstarter.
painted those. They're still white.
They're all still
And
white.
black
I just
and unprimed.
if I'm being honest,
Uh-huh.
I hate the minis. I really don't like them. It's Reaper's Bones first run.
Ooh, you're a Warhammer kid post 5th edition.
Yeah.
So you got spoiled.
Okay.
We got used to fugly miniatures in early Warhammer.
My problem with this early plastic is that it's really soft and rubbery, and that makes it just impossible to paint.
yeah, and you can't repaint them either.
Yeah,
Stripping them is just for nothing.
It's impossible. So I've just left them
yeah.
white
You
forever.
fucking kids, man. You're spoiled
And
now.
they're yeeted into a box. So if I painted them, they would get crunched up. I'd have to treat them nice. And I don't want to have to treat them nice.
Right.
I want just a shitty placeholder in front of you because I have my nice orc bad guy. If I'm gonna have a BBG, I spend time. I buy a cool mini and I paint it up.
You have the options to now.
That's my BBEG for the fight. But
man.
all the mooks and stuff, that wasn't painted by me. That was painted by my buddy Johnny, who gave this to me as a gift. Thank you, Johnny.
Thank you, Johnny. I'm gonna kill that thing soon.
Oh yeah. So that's pretty much all my tchotchkes.
Okay.
I've got minis. I've got dice. I've got my magnetic round tracker. I've got the laptop with the Notion on it. I've talked enough about Notion, I think, by now.
You have a pretty small footprint
Yeah.
for a GM. Most of your footprint is your laptop.
Yeah. And I don't even run the big laptop. I run the baby
run the small
laptop.
one. Yeah.
Yeah, I've got this.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to talk about all the gear. I've had this laptop. It's got my EVE Online sticker.
Yep.
It's got my Smith Rock State Park sticker on it. I've had this laptop. It's a X230 Lenovo laptop. It's ancient.
Yep.
I've had it since
It belongs in a museum.
Dude, I literally finished high school or started college with this, back in Florida. But what I love about it, it's maybe a 13-inch screen, 12-inch screen. It's super tiny and doesn't hold a lot of real estate. My other laptop is a tank. It's massive.
Right. You don't need a lot of real estate for this particular hobby.
You don't. And that little tiny laptop with the nipple, especially, I love the Lenovo nipple. I don't have a mouse. I don't have a trackpad. It's just all there.
Can you
My
say
hands are
nipple
on the
one more
laptop.
time?
Nipple.
Yeah.
Nipple. So yeah, tiny laptop if you can. Reduce your real estate on the table as your DM as much as possible. That way your players...
the first fucking short pod we
Can
ever
get
wrote for
closer
this
to you.
channel was about that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I just hate tabletop clutter. So any attempt to reduce it to just value proposition real estate takers.
And if I could cut something from my list and make it even smaller and bring my players closer to me,
Yes.
the better. Because
Yeah.
having your players closer to you makes everything feel more engaged.
That's a good segue, motherfucker. It's my turn now.
Okay.
So one of the things that breaks immersion for me One of the things that makes me feel like there's space between me and my players when I don't want that is the GM screen. I mean, this thing is iconic AF, and GM screens are designed to be a wall of secrecy between you and your players. I hate it.
It's the worst.
But I love the GM screen when it's a playmat.
Yes.
I
love
have
the
all the
notes.
things I need, and oh no, I need the thing that I can't see. Well, that's okay. I can just flip it like a page, and I have it.
Oh, Eric.
And I can write on this with my wet erase marker, dry erase marker. I can keep track of hit
Oh,
points.
that's smart,
I can keep track of conditions.
You know what would be genius, Eric?
I can circle things. What's that?
I had a product idea right now. Imagine you have, those playmats that Magic the Gathering players play with?
Big old neoprenes.
Neoprenes.
Yeah.
What if we had a GM screen neoprene
Oh,
mat?
that would be sexy. Yeah. God, GM screens are one of those weird frontiers in third-party products where, like, you'll have, like, make your own GM screen.
Yeah.
And there's, like, 8 sides to it, and you slip in the plastic. And
No,
it just-
motherfucker, I want you to make me a GM screen.
Right. So I love my GM screens. I will always buy the next GM screen in whatever game I'm playing.
Same.
But I can't play them vertically. I have to play them horizontally.
Yeah.
So that's one value proposition. I get the content without having to sacrifice the intimacy.
Absolutely.
Of the physical space between me and my players. So that's this guy. When it comes to you mentioned the combat pad, combats are not a central part of my GMing gaming experience, even though I run a lot of them and I enjoy them.
Did you put those beers
but
in the
they're not
fridge?
huh?
You put the beers in the fridge?
No, I got them right here.
Fucking grab me a brewski, buddy.
You want to split one between you and me?
Sure. Yeah.
And if we need another one, hell, I'm not going anywhere.
These are still cold.
So I love my combat pads, but I don't want to like wreck my my pacing. Again, everything is about the pacing, and combat is a pace fucking killer. Because people have to go to their books, people have to go to Archive of Methods, people have to go, oh, it's my turn. Let me take the next 5 minutes to figure out what this ability does.
I
It's
will
a pace
say,
killer.
Eric, I will say the VTT is changing me.
Yes, yeah.
The VTT makes combat
VTT add a physical environment.
so much faster.
That's the
it's
next step.
insane.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
VTT in
We're
IRL.
going to do that. We're just not there yet.
Yeah.
I'm not there yet.
Yeah.
But yeah, one of the reasons why I shy away from combat and a massive emphasis on mechanisms in general is because for 30 fucking years I've watched them kill the pacing of games.
Right.
I want to get into it and be like, dude, why are you here? You're a drow. What are you doing in the middle of this jungle so far from home? What's going on here? I mean, we had a drow in Kingmaker for a long time. And she's just this mysterious badass that's kind of there. And I totally know there's no story whatsoever.
Why do you have
I can't
a
be that
panther?
way with my character.
Why is there a panther with you? I don't understand.
But like, my character, I'm kind of like immersed in it. So I'm like, what's your story, dude? What's going on over there? Yeah. And the player may or may not have a story, whatever. So anyhow, I want those immersive moments, and combats kill it by minimizing the amount of shit I have to take care of in combat with a combat pad. I can get back to the things that actually matter. So that's that. I like dice just like any other goblin, and so I try to keep all of the dice I need for a game in as small a place as possible. I don't want to dig through 10 bags to get 10
Dude, your
different
little
sets of
fucking
dice.
trays are insanely cool. I love the little trays. As someone who likes boxes to put things in, holy shit.
This excites your spreadsheet personality.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
So one of the reasons why I think dices are important, D6s specifically, is because if we're on a gridded map, we've got 30 by 30 squares that we're playing around in, and we don't have miniatures for all these goblins. We don't have miniatures for all the bad guys. What we do have are 6-sided dice. So how cool is it to have a 6 that is blue represent this Knight of Last Wall, and he's at full hit points. Well, yeah, I know this as a player because I'm looking at it and it says 6. I don't have to ask, hey, how does this guy look? I mean, I've hit him 4 times. Is he looking good? Look at the pips, motherfucker. It's right there in front of you. I don't have to suck up game time and energy and oxygen and pacing to get that out there. And I have 10 of these on the table with various facings. If there's a skull, yeah, that guy's dead. So you don't have to explain these things. Dice are a really good shorthand to talk about the status of monsters on the board. So if you're using a miniature, you can still put that dice next to it and then make it a 6, a 5, a 4, a 3, a 2, a one, and you can be like, all right, I know the percentages now because I can count. So I keep an assortment of D6s. I've got gray, I've got green, I've got blue, I've got red, I've got black, I've got green and black, I've got black and green. So I can take all of my goblins and they're one color dice. I can take my goblin boss and he's the one black and green die, right? Because goblins are green. I can take my dragon and just put like 4 D6s for the large size, cover up 4 squares. It's a wonderful shorthand. This is my new hobby horse. How to save pacing without sacrificing it to get all the other
Your
shit.
hobby horse?
It's my hobby horse. Yeah.
I love that
Yeah.
as a saying. This is my bag of dice.
I love
It's
that
just a
sound.
giant bag of dice.
It's a giant bag of dice. Yep.
I made this dice bag out of sheepskin when I was like
It's a clusterfuck of
14.
randomosity.
Exactly.
Yep.
Grab it. Use exactly what Eric's talking about. It's a little less organized than him, but I'm a goblin at the end of the day.
Yeah, that's fine. And that would drive me crazy on the board because every single one of those is a different color.
Exactly.
Like all of the same creatures, same color, please. That way I don't have to trouble you with questions, Mr. GM.
That makes perfect sense.
I also went and stole a bunch of these little knight wooden figurines from a board game called Dragonwood. You can get it on clearance at most grocery stores. Anyhow, some of these board games have really cool little minis. And bits you can kind of like rob for your TTRPGs. And these are just fucking wooden knight pieces of different colors, and you can use them to represent things on the board.
Those are called like meeples?
Meeples, yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So yeah, that's another way I sort of just like create a visual shorthand so I can talk about other things and not sit here and answer question after question after question. I just give you at a glance information. You grok it. We're ready to move on. Our 5 hours can now contain 6 hours worth of information because I found that shorthand. I'm cramming more game into a shorter period of time because I created a shorthand. And that's the thing that works for me. So that's my relationship with dice. I like dice, but I don't need them. I will have one set of dice for any character I ever play. And as I go up in levels, I'll get a second set of dice of the same color, which I'm doing with my Asian alchemist.
Oh, hell yeah.
I've got my cherry blossom dice, and at level 1, I've got my 1 set. I have my second set of the same dice on standby for when I get those 2d6 bombs I'm going to start throwing.
That's awesome.
But like as a GM, that's what I used to do. Just giant bags of dice because I'm a fucking bag nut and a dice nut. But what's the value proposition of more dice?
Look at that chunky.
It takes time because all of a sudden I'm going through a bag looking for the right die or whatever it is. It takes attention away and breaks immersion. It sucks away the pacing. So for me, that didn't work simply because it became an impediment.
Yeah, and if I'm being honest, I never use this.
You don't. Yeah,
I don't.
It's just a fun thing to have.
It lives in my. I don't even put it in my bag anymore. It just lives in my office.
Yeah, my new hobby horse, in addition to the other one, is like, what's the value prop of everything I bring to the table as a player or as a GM?
Everything has to earn its space on the table.
Yeah, and has to contribute to something.
Exactly.
That's the other thing. It can't just suck away.
So
it's got to contribute.
What's this thing?
That is my one of my players, Card 5000, Nick. This is a Magic the Gathering hit point tracker.
Oh, for Commander. Yeah, it's like 3D
Commander,
printed.
guess,
For the listeners at home, it's 2 rollers, 2 times 4 rollers that have 1 through 9 on them.
Different colors.
1 through 9 through 0. Different colors. And you can track HP on these.
Up to 99 hit points worth of HP.
There you go.
And if you have 3 digits worth of HP, that's fine. Put 46 on there. You know they have 146.
Yeah.
Put a die next to it. You know it's 146. So having one of those keeps me from having to like track 4 different sets of HP written here, written there, written on my GM
could
screen.
Totally earn a place at my table.
Yeah. It's concise.
I love this.
It's a really quick way to manage. You can use it for conditions too. I've used it.
I use so for Warhammer, I think I'm actually going to steal this. For Warhammer, I use these these old Magic the Gathering Ultra Pro tokens. They're like these token
Sure.
HP things, and they're literally 2 rollers with 0 through 9 on them.
Oh, nice.
With a cool piece of art.
Yeah.
And they just have HP, or they have 2 numbers on them. So I could totally see using this as a life counter.
Yep.
Normally I use them in Warhammer just to count big monsters that have a lot of HP. But I really like this idea of having a roller style non-dice counter.
I started by using these. These are magic hit point counters.
Yeah.
I got these for my character because my character is a fighter druid, so I grabbed the woodland one.
Ooh.
He was also a farmer in his previous life, and I don't have it with me, but I got the farming one. So it was nice and thematic. And again, it goes, up to 99 hit points, and then you can just, do the rest.
Yeah.
But
So a roller,
this is 2 of them.
a
This is
roller
one
for
of them.
HP. Yeah, this is one concise
I
combined
want
version.
one thing that does everything,
I love that.
like your laptop.
Yeah.
So that's kind of one way I manage the how do I get my players to understand how many hit points a triple digit hit point creature has, and if there's multiple of them on the table, how do I do that without having to take time to break away and go and have my player go, I've got 3 guys I can hit right now. Which one looks the worst off? That breaks immersion for me.
Perception check, medicine check.
I can point to the pips. They're right there.
Yeah.
And if I maintain them, that's great.
Yeah.
Another trick I do with the dice is I don't know what this is. These are, I guess, Magic the Gathering dice. They're D6s and they have -1 through 6. And then there's another set that's white and they're like +1 through 6.
Yeah.
I use these little condition markers.
So
Put it
for the
down.
audio listeners, this is a round piece of wood. It's like a circle
Yeah.
with the center cut out, so like a donut of wood, and it has bleeding.
The bleeding
just
condition in this
written
case.
on it, and it's perfectly fitted to fit around a 25 mil base, I think.
Yeah, exactly.
For a game. So you can put a condition right around the person.
And you can totally do that and put your D6 with, bleeding,
Bleeding
1,
two.
bleeding 2, bleeding
Yeah.
3, bleeding 4. Or, what I do is I just put the fucking die in the middle of it so everybody around the table can see. I wish I had one of those for each players, but
So
they're
the
expensive.
dice represents
The negative or plus.
the negative or plus.
I use it all the time when it comes to Jacques doing his bardic inspiration. I'm like, is it +1, 2, or 3 this time? I forgot.
That makes sense.
It's been 10 minutes since I had to ask the last time. So it's a way, again, it's a shorthand for everybody to get at a glance immediate information. So we can take the 2 or 5 hour games and get that extra hour of zhuzh out of them.
Okay, so this next item is this is quintessential Eric. When I think of an Eric game, a game Eric runs, of course I think of the story and I think of the immersion, I think of the depth, and I'm like, this is a game written by an author, blah, blah, blah. But the number one I think of is your fucking intro songs.
Yeah?
So this is a Bluetooth speaker.
That makes me happy.
A chunky, it's like a size of a grenade.
It's got bass.
Yeah, it's got oomph to it, and if it's in the palm of your, if it's in a big
It's an
hand,
outdoor speaker.
Outdoor speaker.
You take it to your pool.
And what do you do with this, Eric?
What do I do with it? So for my, I use it for cold opens. I also just use it for mood music. I used to run background music through it,
Yeah.
right? Because I didn't have my TV, permeating everything.
And what's perfect is you can put this on the table behind a book,
Yeah.
so it's close to the players.
Yeah,
Again,
you
that
can
close
sneakily turn it on.
physical closeness.
Yeah.
So important.
So what I do is, again, I have 3 buckets of prep, right? When I have time to prep and I'm on it, I try to key a specific cover song to the adventure we're about to have, and or the people, 2 of the people, 1 or 2 of the people that are in it.
Yeah.
And then I will take the lyrics of that song and put it on the Discord and throw a link to the actual YouTube performance of it. And that's sort of like a bit of hype I throw you guys a day or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 before game day. And you guys got to sit there and wonder what the fuck this is about. Because this is a teaser of upcoming things.
So to synopsis here, days before the adventure or the session, Eric will post a cover song in the Discord for us all to listen to.
Yeah.
And we just got to think, how does this relate to the next session?
Yeah, and I'll label it with the actual NPC names or the PC names. So on this last one, for instance, what did I pick? I chose a cover song that was about Marissa Johnny and Francesca Lawrence. And it was some kind of love song. I forget what it was. No, it was Breaking Benjamin, Diary of Jane.
Yeah.
First to 11, their cover of it.
I fucking shout out to First to 11.
Yeah.
I love them so much. I've been following them for years.
Yeah. That
I'm
drummer
so happy.
is amazing.
Incredible, dude.
Yeah, he's an unsung hero in that outfit.
And the lead singer, she's fucking incredible. I love her.
Yeah, I've got a
So
thing
rad.
for female guitar, female bassists and vocalists.
Yeah, me too. Female vocalists slay me.
Yeah. So in this particular one, I did that, and it was the Diary of Jane, and it's basically about kind of sort of a breakup, and a guy earning his place in her diary before they fuck off and they're broken up. Like, yeah, I did it. I got in there, and it was 2 NPCs, and that was my attempt to get you guys at the table to remember those 2 NPCs from previous sessions, especially since it was September or earlier when we did it. So that was what I dropped in front of everybody like a day or 2 or 3 before the session. So the day of the session, we're all there, we're chatting, we're eating, we're having a good time. Hey, how's it going? How's work? It's been a week or 2 since we chatted last. Everybody's talking, having a good time. I'm over here getting my prep on, getting my prep on, getting my prep on, getting my prep on, getting my prep on. Getting my prep on, quietly hit play.
Eric places the
Getting my
mic
prep
close
on,
by.
do volume up slowly, and eventually I start hearing all the talking. 5 people, it becomes 4 people, it becomes 3 people, it becomes everybody shuts the fuck up.
Yeah.
And then Nick goes right for the Discord and starts reading the lyrics along with the song. And it's just
Love you, buddy.
It's a wonderfully magic moment for me every time it happens. So I bring this specifically to sort of be like the that moment in the movie theaters when the lights are on and everybody's talking, and then the lights start getting dim and people are like, ooh.
It's a focusing
and then
on
the
a
screen
moment.
starts to come on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
the curtain's about to raise.
I bet you there's a fucking German word for it because they have a
German
word
and
for
Japanese. They got
they got
words
words for everything.
They do,
Yeah.
So you called this one out. That's specifically what this is for. I use this for nothing else.
Yeah.
I don't use this at home. I don't use this in the car. I don't use this at the pool. This sees action like once every 2 weeks.
To be honest, I think I might get one. I only run my game at my house.
Right. You got
And
your system set up.
I have a computer, a TV and a sound speaker that I can control with my phone through YouTube.
Yep.
But the closeness,
Yeah.
the proximity
Yup.
to the players is so important. And that's like, these are the little tidbits that you'll pick up that we're talking about. If I was a listener right now, that is one of the things, like proximity to players, physical proximity to players is so important.
It really is. And for me in particular with my hearing disability, it's even more important because I can't hear that shit on your TV when you're playing music in the background.
Yeah.
Like somebody's like, wow, I like this song. There's a song? And I'll look around. So, but like with something like this, you put it on the table in front of everybody and it's like, you can't not
Or
see
you
it.
hide it behind something and it's just kind of echoing off of
But it's
bouncing
here
off. But
instead
it's
of
next
somewhere
to you.
over there.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's the
So
immediacy, you're
let's
right.
cards.
These cards I use to simulate hero points and to one of the Nick's got all the great ideas that I use.
Dude.
He came up with the idea of using one of the items in the treasure vault that came out, the hardbound book. What was it called? The Garden of Wonder. It's basically you can grab alchemical items out of a bush.
Do you know they're remastering the treasure vault?
What's that?
They're remastering the treasure vault.
I didn't know that. Okay.
I think we're gonna cover it when the remaster comes out. I think we're
I'm
gonna
not
cover
even
it.
sure what that would look like, but
We
yeah.
never covered the treasure vault, and we've been talking about it for so long that we might as well.
So I ended up getting these to simulate hero points. Each one of these is a hero point, but they also do something. So the green one is from the alchemy deck. The red one is from the actual hero point deck, and the purple one is from the the purple one's alchemy, and I think the green one is like talismans and items and
relics
shit.
and
So I just make sure they're level appropriate. You know, if you're playing a 10th level game, don't throw a 20th level relic in there. And then I let them use it as either a hero point or whatever it says.
I love
It's
this.
a fun extra
This is
thing.
easily one of the coolest parts of your games.
You really like that.
As a crunchy player, I love the little gimmies.
Yeah.
I love the little, you get a little potion in your pocket.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's like Halloween every 2 weeks.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
This is an incredible idea for any DM to, if your combats are boring or if your players are bored, spice it up. If you have the cash to spend, what would you buy first? Would you buy one of the items first and not do the hero point cards?
I would get the hero points first.
Okay.
Because the hero point system, what this does to the hero point system is about this much. It blows it open tremendously.
Yeah, that's true.
What these do, you can get on Archives of Nethys.
That's true. Yeah.
So it really
yeah,
adds
fair.
nothing except the physicality. So I would start with the hero points.
I love the idea. So Eric has changed the rules to the little pre-card game. So you arrive at the table. Eric has like 4 or 3 or 9 cards in front of you. And he has a new little card game. It's like a mini little card game. He barely explains the rules before they start.
Yep.
And he's basically like, pick one and pass your hand to the right. So it's a drafting game today. Or, you've got 3 cards in front of you. Pick 2 and put the other in a pile. And then at the end, everyone puts it in a pile. And he's like, okay, everyone randomly gets one in the pile. Or the pile just goes away.
Yep.
Or whatever it is. And these are always going to be hero points. But they're also cool items.
Yeah, so if you get a shitty hand of text, you still have 3 fucking
And then there's
hero
the
points.
trading when you make us
The horse
trade
trading?
them. Oh,
Yeah.
dude, the horse trading is my
wow,
favorite.
I am a rogue and I got like this great thing that would be good for a monk.
Yeah.
Can I give it to the monk? And there's that moment where everybody around the table is like, is he going to let him do it this time?
Slip.
It's just a fun moment with like a mini game. Like
I love the horse trading part because I love being able to. I love having a card that's never going to get used and being like, Tyler is going to murder with this.
Jacques likes to take the most useless cards and then use them.
Yeah.
He gets excited
my
with the bad
God.
shit.
That's
so
Jacques.
it's a fun little trick I did to keep things new, fun,
Yeah.
interesting, that sort of thing.
Another great
but
way
hero
to
points
spice up your game.
bore the hell out of me.
Yeah.
It's just like you succeed or you fail, but you've got hero points, so you know it's not a failure.
Dude.
It's the most deterministic part of Pathfinder, and it really rubs me wrong. This was my attempt to fix that.
The mythic hero points, honestly, I think I might even
That
implement.
might change things.
Like if there was a mythic hero points deck, I might even just put that in every one of my games because
Yeah.
they're just so interesting. But they tie into feats and it's a little more complicated.
Yeah, you mentioned before that I did a thing with the NPC deck.
Yeah.
And I bought the NPC deck. This is probably the most underused and most valuable non-rule book RPG product I have. It's basically a bunch of cards. You get a picture, you get the names, you get ancestries, you get professions, shit like that, a secret they have, what their background is, what they're looking for, so on and so forth. There's a bunch of rules to it. You basically grab like 5 or 6 of these and you create sort of like a pattern with it of sorts, and it gives you access to a bunch of information.
Right.
And it changes depending on what your combination of cards
It basically randomly rolls an NPC for you.
It does, yeah. And the cool thing about that is if you have 4 different color D6s and you put this kobold and make him the blue die, you take this fucking human, make it the gray die, and you have blue and gray cubes or poker chips or more of the same color dice, and you put them out on your map. You don't need miniatures anymore. This is it. These are the people you're talking to.
Right.
You have pictures. You have, aspirations and dreams. You have alignment if you're still using it.
We know you.
So on and so forth. So this book of endless NPCs, they have it for Starfinder too, which I'm totally going to grab before the 2nd edition comes out.
Bro, this channel might
It's-
become a Starfinder channel before the end of 2nd edition.
I'm going to run, at the very least, a deluxe adventure for
Yeah,
PFP.
we got to do it.
So I like my cards. What's the value proposition?
Yeah.
If it blows open the excitement, if it buys me time to come up with new shit when I'm panicking in a session, if it allows information at a glance so I can spend my valuable breath and words talking about descriptions of rooms and NPC interactions, that's what these things are all supposed to do. I'm trying to get to the point as a GM where I don't bring more than I need. What do I need? Things that add a value proposition to the game. This, I'm not going to sing the cover.
Yeah, the Sonos, the
I
Sony.
need this.
Yeah,
I
it's
can't do my
must.
cold open without this. Nothing replaces this. Nothing will stand in for this. So this stays.
Yeah.
What about a bag of dice? Honestly, I just need one of each die. maybe 2 because monsters roll 2d6 sometimes.
Organized surgical
and I like
dice.
the efficiency of rolling all my dice at once, attack and damage at the same time.
Especially in like an organized tray like this.
Yes.
Yeah.
I need speed. I need pacing. Pacing. Everything else is secondary and tertiary. And, just like things for people to look at on the map.
Right.
I don't need actual painted miniatures because I used to make myself feel bad that I still make myself feel bad that I don't have these glorious painted monsters and NPCs on these fantastic mats I have. I've got like shitty white bones miniatures on these glorious, maps. And I'm like, why do I just feel bad?
Yeah.
So these kind of help with that. These are things I use. When it comes to monsters, one of the things that's invaluable for me, I put all these fuckers in a bag that I'm going to use for the next session.
For the audio listeners, this is...
These are all the monsters I used in last session, in the upcoming session for the dungeon scenario.
But these are what do you call them?
They're pawns.
Yeah, the player pawn. So it's a cardboard cutout with like a base you stick them into.
Yep.
And it's just a flat piece of cardboard. You can buy them from Paizo. They're corrugated.
They're stand-ins for actual 3D miniatures.
I think these are great.
I think they're great, but I think the art is too small to be of tremendous value for me.
Yeah.
Just like I didn't buy it. Nick bought it. Thank you, Nick. My battle mat, I have the 1-inch squares battle mats.
Yeah.
There's a 1.5-inch squares battle mats.
Dude.
And I fucking love those. I want my minis to grow in scale too, so I can see the details.
So I think
same thing with pawns.
My next purchase is going to be a 1.5-inch because that's 32 mil.
Yeah.
And that means I can use all of my fantasy Warhammer minis as normal minis.
As
in the
normals.
game.
That's fantastic.
And that blows everything open.
This thing is a massive time saver for me because I can go through like the next 3 books of Edgewatch and make bags for every chapter.
I highly recommend. You could probably find them on eBay for cheap. Buy them used. Don't buy them new. In my opinion, that's just me. Or support Paizo. I love supporting Paizo. The bestiary miniature pawn boxes. They're fucking incredible. If you don't have any minis at all, highly recommend them.
Yeah, the only time I find they don't do what I need them to do is when they only have like 1 or 2 of a given monster, and you need to have 4 on the table. And it's like, what are my stand-ins? Fortunately for things like lizard folk, you'll have the lizard folk scout, the lizard folk warrior, the barbarian. You just grab all your lizard folk.
Yeah.
But what about like the weird monsters? No, you only get 1 of those. But I've got 4 on the table. What do? I can't have like 1 pawn and 3 black dice.
Hey, listen, players. These are all Shoggoths.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. So one more thing, Eric, and I think we'll wrap this up.
Okay, cool. This is probably the cheapest thing I have ever purchased for a TTRPG, and it has saved me so much time and allowed me to keep that delicious secrecy of information and treat that information like currency. It's a small piece of paper. I got it on a RPG, drive-through RPG. It was a download. I think I paid like $1 or something for it. On it is the character's name, their movement speed, their hit points, their armor class, class DC, spell DC, fortitude, reflex, and will saves, and perception, stealth, arcana, deception, diplomacy, nature, occultism, religion, survival, thievery, and 2 separate lore skills.
So those
all of my players fill this out from level to level.
Yeah.
And I keep this on my GM screen, so I don't have to ask you what your numbers are. I just know them.
These are all of the secret check skills.
The secret check skills specifically. Yep.
Yeah.
And this was a massive game changer.
Yeah.
In my attempt to remove the GM screen and get the intimacy here.
Absolutely.
You're moving through the underbrush, and as you pass by, there's a crocodile sleeping in the underbrush, and you don't realize it until you're on them and you freeze. You can smell their breath. You can hear their breath. It's still calm. Must be asleep for now.
What do you do?
And there is something in the coils, gleaming gold. I know you've got a thievery check because I have it right here. And if I'm the kind of GM I am, I'm not going to make you roll that thievery check. I'm going to do it. But I am going to ask you if you want to do it. And you freeze for the moment. You get 1 action and
Secret
1
check,
question.
baby. Secret check.
Yeah. And you get one question and one action. That's one of my favorite pairings as a GM. It's an amazing tool that I just sort of tripped over one day. Okay, what's your question? Does he seem like he's going to wake up anytime soon? Okay, that's a fair question. Make me a perception as I'm doing my thievery behind the screen.
Right.
Okay, you pass your perception. It looks like his breath is deep, like he might be in whatever the crocodilian version of like a REM sleep is. So he seems like he's
Eyes
deep
going
asleep,
everywhere.
but that can change. You want to try for it? I don't know. Do I want to try for it? Okay, I'll make a thievery check. No. Do you want to try for it? Because I got your number right here, asshole.
And you know when Eric's rolling, it's low.
Yep. When I GM, I roll high.
Yeah.
So that can be for your benefit. But the idea
When I
is
roll, I always roll high, unfortunately.
Pacing, immersion.
Yeah.
I will sacrifice everything else for pacing and immersion. So that's what this cheap little 99-cent thing is for. These are my tools I use to run my games. And they really work for me, and you seem to like it.
Jenga blocks. Shout out to the Jenga blocks. They're fucking rad.
Jenga blocks are great when you don't want to write a bunch of ink on a piece of paper.
Yep.
They're great when you want to put characters' names on them for initiative order.
Yeah.
Jenga blocks are just amazing. Paul, genius GM, who I learned from, he was basically my mentor growing up in D&D. He taught me about Jenga blocks and their power.
And Eric got a professionally painted bust by our good patron JP.
Yep.
I think busts are awesome.
I wish
Bust
I could
minis.
have all monsters
So this
replaced
is like
with busts.
Is this 32 mil or 25?
Couldn't even tell you.
Okay. I think it's
But it sits
25.
on a square.
25 mil.
Yep.
Bust. It sits on a square. Classic 1-inch square.
Yeah.
It's
It's
incredible.
got that real old, like, battlefield commander maps out in the south of France with the English invading.
Yeah.
And, you move these big old busts around the map.
It's fucking sick.
I just fucking love this. Thank you, JP.
Thick resin.
This is one of my most treasured parts of my collection here.
So yeah, goblins, I hope you learned something about prepping your games. I hope this was valuable to you. We're back, baby.
Thanks
That's
for
all I
letting
have
us
to
talk
say.
about our shit.
This is how we prep games. It's ever evolving, so there's probably going to be like one of these a year, if I'm going to guess, maybe once every other year.
Maybe. I'd like to hear everybody else's version of how they prep for a game. And more importantly, like, what are your pain points?
Yeah.
Because there are so many of us who are running games. Everybody's got, thoughts and opinions and strategies and just weird, tiny little tricks we trip over from time to time. I want to know what they are because I need more. And I'm sure everybody else does too.
All right, goblins. Thanks for hanging out with us.
Yep.
And as always,
Keep it weird.
keep it weird.